What is up, guys? It's your boy Nick Torius back again with another video. And I'm here gonna talk to you about my experience in 2020, right? So we all had that crazy ass year 2020, like what the fuck, oh my goodness, right? So I'm gonna just recount it. So smash the like button, comment below what you think, subscribe if you're new. Let's get into it. Woo! All right. So today is December 17th, right? 2021. And it's so funny because I used to watch a show called C-Lab 2021. And I thought, oh, that's how like life in 2021 is gonna be. It's like this. Super regular. But yeah. So damn, that girl's hot as fuck. Yeah, so basically in 2020, I didn't think nothing of it. Like going into the year, I was just like, okay, it's another year, whatever. Right? I didn't give a fuck. And it's so funny because I was like, oh, you know what? This is a new me. It's a new year, new me. That's the first time I ever said it, right? And it was so true because the thing is, right before 2020, damn, bro. No, that was that was this year. This year was so crazy. But last year I was like, you know what, bro? Fuck it, I'm gonna cut off my hair, right? So I had long hair. I had long yellow hair. And right before 2020, I cut that shit off, right? And I was like, all right, new year, new me. And I cut off all my hair. And because the thing is, it's like, it was like such a, that's so insane, bro. It was like such a transitional shift for me because it's like, I didn't even just change like jobs, I changed identities. For me, it's like my whole entire identity shifted. You feel me? Because the thing is like, I went from having like long blonde hair and because the thing is, it's so funny. Like I remember when I was working at Alcoholic and I first decided who I was gonna be. I had like a vision. Okay, this is what I'm gonna be, right? It's like a muscular dude with yellow hair, and I'm gonna like braid it up and shit. And I was gonna be a douchebag, basically, right? I wanted to be a douchebag. I wanted to have the image of a douchebag. So I did it, right? I literally manifested it, and I thought of it, and it came true, right? I brought it into the physical world. I brought that Nick to the physical world. And I was beating down bitches and shit, like that's what I wanted to do. But then, I left Alcoholic and I was tattooing on my own and shit. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to just, like, this is 2019. 2019, I'm just like, you know what? It's crazy that's 2 years ago. It's almost 3 years ago, bro. So I'm just like, you know what, bro? I'm just going to say fuck it. And I'm just going to make a change. And I cut off all my hair and I was like, I'm going to go to work for corporate America, right? So then I went to work at a restaurant. And it's so funny because I went to a whole bunch of, that was so fun. I went to a whole bunch of restaurants, didn't get the job until I worked at this place called Spring Chicken, right? And working there was so chilling. I loved it. It was cool, right? I worked in the kitchen. It was cool and it sucked at the same time, right? So I was just like, whatever, It was what it was. It was kind of fun. I kind of fucked with it. But yeah. So after working at Spring Chicken, I was working at Shake Shack, right? And it's so crazy. Because while I was working at Spring Chicken, that's when I had met my boy Ish, right? Shout outs to Ish. I met him, and then I was he let me borrow his studio, right? He said, oh, you can record your podcast in the studio. And there was some turbulence, but like eventually I started recording the podcast, and I was like, oh shit, this is so lit, right? And it's so crazy, right? Because I believe in like the highest highs come with the lowest lows sometimes, right? So the thing is, like, recording the podcast was such a high for me because it was like so fun. You feel me? Like, it's like I'm with my friends, we're smoking weed, and it's like the energy was so incredibly high. You feel me? Because it's like, damn, this is like such high energy and shit, right? And the thing is, it's like so funny because I remember seeing like I was on such a high, right? It was such a high for me. It's like I don't really be like that high all the time. And it's so funny to think that like during that time, a whole pandemic happened, right? And the thing is like I feel like every time that I feel like that high, sometimes like something bad happens. You feel me? Like one like I don't know. Huh. Yeah, like every time I feel that high, something like crazy happens, and it's crazy because it's like those are such high highs. Because I was high as fuck smoking weed, and coupled that with like being with my friends on the podcast, like just talking, like it was so fun. So it's like all of that energy kind of shifted the world, right? I believe it. I believe that energy shifted the world because the thing is like that's when I started hearing about coronavirus. And the thing is, I thought everyone was gonna forget about it, like Ebola, swine flu, bird flu, all that shit that like mad cow disease, like all that shit that's always happening. I thought that people were gonna forget about it. And it's so funny because every single podcast was talking about the same stuff. They were talking about Kobe. They were talking about rest in peace. They were talking about I don't remember what the hell else was happening around that time. But then they were definitely talking about coronavirus. I was listening to No Jumper, and they're like, "Oh, what do you think is gonna happen with this?" And it's so funny because it's like I didn't really want to talk about coronavirus. I was like every time that we would talk about it, I would just like try to get off the subject, right? I'm just like, let's talk about like girls or Nicki Minaj or something, right? And you know, I didn't really want to be a podcast talking about COVID because it, you know, like fuck that shit, you feel me? Because I was like, this is like too. I knew from the jump, bro. I knew from the jump that shit was already too political, right? And I was like, damn, this is all about politics. I already knew COVID was about politics, and it really is. You feel me? Like COVID is literally about politics. But yeah, so that's why I think it was so funny, because I didn't want to talk about it, right? I didn't want to, and I didn't think it was real, because I remember it growing, bro. It was like literally like that movie. It was like a movie. Like living in 2020 was literally like a movie, bro. It was like living in Contagion, right? It's like, oh shit, you hear about it and you're like, oh, that's not gonna affect me. And then they shut down the entire country, the entire world, right? And it's so funny because at that time, I was so not spiritual, right? I was very worldly. I would be on Twitter every day. You feel me? Like every morning I would wake up and be on Twitter for like 2 hours, right? So like my whole mind was like, it's definitely not getting what it needs to give, right? Like I was some stupid shit like that. And, you know, like I was, you know, like it's so funny because like COVID hit, and then I'm just like, you know, oh shit, you know, this is real. Because I remember when the first time I thought that COVID was real, I was at Shake Shack working, right? Like flipping burgers and shit. And I was like, damn, bro, this job fucking sucks, right? That's the worst job I ever had. And I'm over here at Shake Shack flipping burgers and shit. And then, you know, my managers was like, all right, guys, we're not letting anyone eat. And they were letting people eat in the dining room, but they took away all the condiments and all that shit. And they're like, this is very serious. Like, this is very serious. And they just try to like fill us with fear. And it's so funny because like being at Shake Shack was already like a place of like shit, right? It's fucking sucked. And that's so fucking funny. But yeah, so you know, like I'm over here thinking, oh shit, you know, and they're like, oh, if you feel sick, you stay home, don't, you know. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then all of a sudden, you know, everything with COVID started happening, and then, you know, then they shut down everything. And I was like, oh shit. So, you know, then I just started staying home, and then, you know, my family was like all scared and shit, like, cause you know, when you're on Twitter, you're just like, you know, my family just watches the news all fucking day, so they were just like, oh damn, this is crazy, this is the worst thing ever in the world, oh my goodness. Right? But that, yeah, so then, you know, like we were just like chilling at the crib, you know, we're smoking every day, bro. It's like I've never been so unproductive in my life. And it's so funny because I started hanging out with my homeboy more, right? And you know, we were already chilling and smoking and shit, but then it got real crazy. Like I went from smoking one blunt a week to smoking 5 blunts a day. It's crazy. And I loved it. There are so many great memories in 2020, bro. It's like 2020 was such a crazy year, but it was like such a fun year too, right? It was like the most fun year I've ever had in my life, next to this year. You feel me? Cause I did acid, right? I did acid in 2020, and that's when shit just like really, really changed. Like it changed my life for real. After I did acid, that's when I started becoming happy, because I was so depressed, right? Because I had gone through like a breakup situation or whatever with this girl, and you know, like my life was horrible, right? Like my life was just like, oh my goodness. Now it's like life is so great. Life is so perfect, bro. It's like I'm so glad that happened. Like I really needed that to happen. So now I'm more spiritual. Shout out to all the girls that break your heart. Shout out to everyone that breaks your heart and makes you on the path of spirituality. You feel me? But yeah, and then 2020. It's so funny because like, you know, it's 2020. It's damn near 2022, right? And COVID isn't really like, you know, like super talked about. People still walk around with masks. People still walk around with masks on, right? But, you know, like, I don't know, bro. Right now, it's like still COVID time. Like, things are still weird. No one gives a fuck about social distancing. No one gives a fuck about, oh, do I have, like, I don't hear, because the thing is, I ejected myself from that reality, right? My reality is there's no COVID. Everything's just fine. Everything's just perfect. You know, I'm chilling. Everyone I know is chilling. You know, it is what it is, you know? But yeah, pretty much what I learned from 2020 is it's like me going back. It's like you know, like when you watch those TV shows and you have like a reel. It's like a reel of the highlights, right? It's like the highlights of the years of the year, right? And it's like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, I remember that. I loved it. And this year, I don't know what was more great. I don't know. I think this year was better than last year. I can't even tell, bro. It's like every year is getting better and better. Every year in my life is getting better and better. It's so crazy. It's literally insane. So with that being said, you know, that's just my account. Smash the like button. Comment below what you think. Subscribe if you're new. If you have any questions, just DM me on Instagram at Torius at 60 interviews. We'll make a video talking about your questions. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.